About a month ago, I posted a video answering some questions that some of you had about my yoga teacher training in India. More specifically Rishikesh, India. And that was more about the informational side, like how much did it cost, what was the room and board like, how was the environment and stuff like that. But now I want to get into the personal side of things because a lot of you also asked about personal questions for me for my India journey and my India experience, so I thought I would answer them in this separate Q&A video. If you haven't watched the first video and you're interested in a yoga teacher training, make sure you go check out that video. I'll link it in the description below, as well as other helpful links and the link to the yoga teacher training school that I went to as well. So, what was one lesson you took away from your journey that you hope to share with people in your life? It's just being humble, like completely humbling yourself. I thought I knew about yoga, and I also thought that I knew about myself, and I thought I knew so many things, but when I got to another country and experienced something as a newbie, it definitely brought me to my knees and humbled me and made me realize like there's so much more to life than what I already know, and there's so much that I can learn, and it's so important to keep an open mind to everything and just allow experiences to come into your life as they are rather than taint them with your own judgments or with your own preconceived notions about them. What was my favorite food while I was there? Definitely the mangoes. The mangoes in India, especially in July, were so good. That was probably my favorite thing. Also, there was this dish made of jackfruit. I don't even know, like curried jackfruit or something, but that was also so incredibly delicious. All of the food in India, at least in my yoga teacher training school, was amazing. Any advice for someone just starting their yoga teacher training journey? Again, like I said before, just be open to being humbled, be open to learning new things, things you don't know, relearning things, be open to whatever comes your way and look at it objectively before you put your subjective thoughts onto it. Also, when going through your yoga teacher training journey, make sure you stay patient with yourself and try your hardest not to compare yourself to other people, which I will get into because I know that there's a question about that. But be patient with yourself. If you don't get a headstand, you don't get like the certain flexibility that you want, it's okay. What our bodies can do doesn't measure what we are on the inside. So it's important to remember that so you can translate that onto your students when you're teaching in the future. What was your favorite memory of the trip? And what foods did you miss while you were there? So my favorite memory of the trip actually had nothing to do with yoga, but we went to this incredible waterfall, and it was a really small waterfall, but like if you climb into it, then there's a bunch of like caves that you can go in, and there's ponds with fresh flowing water coming from straight from the Himalayas. We took motorcycles up there through the mountains, and then we parked, and then we went up a little hike, and then we got to go into the water, and it was just so nice and refreshing. And it was also nice to be able to do something fun with friends and take fun photos and just experience the natural side of India. Another one of my favorite memories while I was over there was actually our first day. I think it's called a kirtan or something. It's like a celebration, a prayer night that everybody gathers at this temple, and it's in front of this huge Shiva statue, and everybody was singing and just taking in the breeze and the noise of the river, as well as everybody around. People were taking pictures, people were just listening to the music and just taking all of it in, and I absolutely loved it. It was my first immersion, like official immersion into the actual like culture of Rishikesh, and I think that's what really helped me set the tone for the whole entire month. And the foods that I missed while I was over there were honestly like, I knew I would only be in India for a month, so I didn't really miss any foods from home. Obviously, I'm gonna miss like the convenience of that I had with my superfoods and like frozen berries and my avocado every day, but the food that I was eating in India was so good that I didn't even miss too much. Would you ever consider moving to India, even short term? I probably wouldn't move to India even short term. Not that I don't love the place itself, but I see it more as a traveling area for me rather than a living area. How did you know you were ready for yoga teacher training? The 200-hour yoga teacher training program is for beginners anyway, so no matter what, even if you're just there to learn more about yoga, which is what I did, which is what a lot of people in my school did, just go. I never really thought like I was ready or not ready for yoga teacher training. I just know that I wanted to learn more about yoga, and I know that the best way to learn about something is to make sure or like prepared to teach it or even just teach it itself. So I wanted to know as much about yoga as possible, and I thought that the best way was to go through yoga teacher training, even though I'm still not teaching any yoga. What was the most rewarding part of your training? Definitely being able to establish a stronger connection with myself and my body, like mind, body, spirit, and that when I'm folding, like forward folding in a yoga pose, I feel like I'm spiritually folding into myself. There's not a time exactly when I got to that point, but I realized it as I was practicing over and over again. I was like, wow, like this place really feels like home. As I'm like stretching, I'm like, wow, like I feel so good in myself, and I didn't feel that a couple weeks ago. So that was really rewarding. I don't know if that answers the question at all, but I don't know. What was the most challenging part of your training? It was dealing with the frustration that I had with my hamstring, because my left hamstring, I kind of strained it a couple weeks before I went to India, so it wasn't as flexible as it used to be. So there were some poses that I knew I was good at, that I knew I could go deeper in had it been a couple months ago, but my hamstring was strained and I didn't want to strain it even further or damage it even more, so I couldn't go that far. And so dealing with the frustration that I know I can be better, I know I can do better, but physically I just have this limitation. Working through that frustration was really, really difficult for me, and just accepting that I need to be a little bit gentler. I need to start at like an easier pose, an easier posture, like a more beginner posture. Basically humbling myself. That was what was most challenging for me. It wasn't necessarily keeping up with the training or anything like that. It was just like, oh my gosh, Amanda, like I know you can go into your forward folds a little bit deeper. Why is your hamstring like this? But I worked through it, and my hamstring is feeling a lot better. And it's way more rewarding to be able to practice with a healed hamstring now, because I took some of that time and went easier on myself then. Will I be teaching back in the US or no? Eventually I will teach, but right now I'm not in a position, I feel like right now in my life it's not appropriate for me to teach because I have a lot going on right now. Currently I'm in Colorado, hence the room. I'm studying for my dietitian board exam, and then after that I'm going to try to look for a job to get some clinical experience. So I don't know where teaching will fit in, but I know that it will happen as it's supposed to happen. What is one thing you would have done different in hindsight? I don't think I would have done anything differently. I think that the experience was just, it was so incredible, and everything that I did was supposed to happen for a reason that I don't know, I wouldn't have done anything or changed anything. I love the school that I went to. I love the people that I met. I loved everything that we did. And yeah. What were you most inspired by? When I was over there, I think I was just most inspired by the culture and how beautiful and how collective and eclectic and vibrant, colorful, proud, loving, and caring it was. I was most inspired by the passion that the people in India, especially Rishikesh, had for doing good for others as well as doing good for themselves, and practicing things like love, humility, compassion, kindness, patience, generosity. That's what I was most inspired by. Why didn't you stay longer in India to explore or travel after the teacher training? I had a lot of family things going on at home. There were like 3 birthday parties on top of each other for when I would get back, and that's why I didn't stay any longer, because family for me is always going to come first. What did you take from Indian culture? One of the things that I took from Indian culture that I still do now is just walking around barefoot. Obviously it's also part of Asian culture, but I feel like at my house a lot of people they still wear their shoes inside the house, but I just walk around barefoot all the time. Even if my feet get dirty, I don't really care. I kind of like the feeling of grounding, where I can connect with the earth better, whether it's inside or outside, and I definitely got that from being in India. So many people just walk around barefoot like they don't even care, and I was like, wow, I really like this. Also, eating with my hands. I don't do it as much now, but when I was in India, I was definitely eating with my hands like every single meal. Another thing that I took from Indian culture and noticed was the importance of having a community around you, the importance of being with each other and connecting with the people around you. They seemed like they were so full of life and happiness because they were always around people. And today, especially in a first world country, especially as a young adult. It's so easy to just be by yourself and do your own thing and be a lone wolf. But at the end of the day, being with other people, having that sense of community, having a sense of like a village, it's been shown to produce productivity, increase your lifespan, lower stress levels. And so I was able to really just see that in every single person that I saw, in every single group that I saw. Everybody was just like grouped and they were friends, and I was like, wow, I really, really like interacting with other people actually. As much as I like being a lone wolf and re-energizing by myself, it's so important for me to be around people. I knew that, but being in India and really experiencing it has definitely like strengthened that thought. And the last question is, how do you manage to stop judging yourself and keep your ego calm during the practice? I can totally feel you, because there are some things that I could not do that my other classmates could do, and I was like, how do you do that? How do you do that? But then I realized that they just did it with hard practice, and all I had to do was just keep practicing and keep an open mindset. And what's beautiful about yoga that I learned through anatomy is you have some limitations when it comes to yoga practice. So you have like flexibility, you have strength limitations, you have bone structure limitations, and then you have your mental limitations. So when it comes to flexibility, you could definitely work your flexibility up. For some people, it's easier than others, but flexibility can always be worked towards, and soon enough, if you keep going at your splits, you'll get your middle splits guaranteed for flexibility. For strength, it's the same thing. Some people are stronger than others, but as long as you keep working your strength up, doing your push-ups, like strengthening your shoulders, you could definitely hold a shoulder stand, you could hold a forearm stand, you can hold a handstand, as long as you work up to strengthening those muscles. So for bone structure limitation, some people can do crazy things with their legs because their hip joints are more open. Some people can do crazy things with their arms because their shoulder joints and their shoulder sockets are so much more open and it's structured differently than ours. But just because we can't do that doesn't mean that we're not able to. It just means literally, physically, we can't do it. And that has nothing to do with your ability. It has nothing to do with who you are as a person. That's just what you're born with. And that makes it easier to accept and to move on and to learn to work around it, or find another yoga pose that you love, or just be more patient with yourself. And then the last thing is your mental block. Like, I'm too scared to hold myself in a handstand. Well, that's obviously something that goes on within you that you can fix on your own, and it's not like anything's wrong with you. It's not like anything else is holding you back. It's just you believing in yourself. Just reminding myself of those things helps me to not compare myself with other people, because there's so many factors that go into your own yoga practice, that go into my own yoga practice, my flexibility, my strength, my bone structure, my mental ability. It's like, if I just focus everything on myself, then I could probably do what I want to do, instead of if I focused my energy and my thoughts on someone else and what they can do rather than what I can't, like what they can do versus what I can't do. There's so many options that you can choose, so many roads that your mind can go, you can lead your mind down in order to strengthen your own yoga practice and help you focus on yourself and foster that love within you. You just have to make that conscious choice to say, everybody is on their own journey. Everybody is doing the best that they can. So I should just be doing the best that I can, because it's my world, it's my life, it's my body at the end of the day, and I shape my own reality. So that is basically what's helped me to like kind of calm down my own ego, be more patient with myself, not really compare myself with other people, because yeah, there are going to be better people than you, but there's also going to be worse people than you. And no matter where you go, no matter how far you improve, if you're the best of the best, I promise you there's going to be someone who's better. If you're the worst of the worst, I promise you there's probably someone who's going to be the worst. You just don't know it. Keeping that in mind will definitely help you be more patient with yourself and keep calm with yourself, and just help you become the best self, your best you. Anyway, those are the questions. I hope you guys enjoy. And if you're going into yoga teacher training, leave that in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Are you excited or scared? Or any of you who are considering going into yoga teacher training, or you've done it before, just share whatever you like in the comments below. I hope you're all having a wonderful morning, noon, day or night, and I'll see you next time. Bye!